Good afternoon from Brisbane, Australia. It's wonderful to be here with you. How you going? Today we're going to look at self-worth, a really important topic for a lot of us around the world. This past week we've gone through 5 videos of talking about and dissecting and coming to understand each part of social anxiety. Now, as we went through social anxiety and, uncovered bits and pieces, we also came across the subject of self-worth. Now, like social anxiety, it also has many different facets to it. And as we unfold each facet, we find that we're able to reflect and see in our life what's happening for us as an individual, and then we can go about growing through and coming to a better place and perception in our lives as well. We don't need mental health challenges to run our lives. For some of us, we will have mental health challenges in our lives, but it doesn't have to encompass and overflow our entire life. One of the ways we do that is by having the courage to talk about it. As one specialist said to me on my Instagram account, we need to be able to talk about our mental health challenges like we talk about going to the gym. And it's true, we do. They're there, we have them, and we need people around us who understand that sometimes we just need to ring up and say, I'm having a moment, can you just listen to what's happening? And then we are able to move on. And I did this just yesterday. I've reached a place and space with my mental health challenges where I can wake up and I know that the depression is sitting in my brain or in my mind. Not in my mind, that's not true. It's like a heavy thickness in my brain that makes me feel tired after a really good night's sleep. And I went, oh, for goodness sake, not again. I have zero reason for this to be happening in my life. And I went, I'm just going to get up, go to gym, etc., etc. I got dressed for gym, but I got involved in other things in the day. But when I got up, I actually could feel, it's almost like a chemical reaction, and it drops from your brain down into your body and just tries to cover your soul, who we are, but it can't get that far for me. And I went, enough already. This is not who I am. And so I rang a girlfriend and I said, look, for whatever reasons this is happening, I just want to talk. And she's a friend who's always there for me. And as soon as I talked out, whatever was on my heart, we then began talking about what's happening in her life and what her struggle is. So you'll find that if you're prepared to start talking about what your struggle is, excuse me, I'm trying really hard not to sneeze. Excuse me, sorry about that. We find if we're prepared to start being honest and saying, this is what's happening for me, then it gives our friends the opportunity to say, well, these are the challenges I'm facing. Now, her challenge wasn't a mental health challenge, but it certainly was a challenge for what's happening in her life right now. And so we were able to sit and talk through that with her and, what we were going to do together to support each other through our challenges, at the moment. And that's what you've got to, or we need to, as individuals, come to a place of understanding that, yes, we've got a mental health challenge, but other people have other challenges and we can step up and be there for them just as they are for us. It is a two-way street. Sometimes in the beginning we can feel, or certainly I feel, that out in society there's a sense of mental health challenges are too hard to deal with, and it's just not the truth. Okay, it's been a really sad week. Two people who are in the public eye have committed suicide as well. And I just want to say that from what I see on the outside of them, everybody said, well, they've got these really huge lives that are successful, etc., etc. But they're all missing on the inside. So their soul isn't sparking really, because they've gone down to great depths. And my heart goes out to their families, their friends, and everyone around the world, because it is a really tough challenge. And my aim in my life is to help equip everybody to overcome these challenges as well, and so that the generations that come after us are free as well. I've also raised 3 young adults with mental health challenges as well. So it's been a big part of my life. But I know that if we do these things together and stop trying to do them on our own, we connect into community, and then community connects into us, and we create a greater space for everybody to know that we're not doing life alone. Okay? So I know we're talking about self-worth, but one of the things about self-worth is our mental health and our emotional health. They are just key components. So I just want to grab today's list, and today I want to talk about the ingredients that make up self-worth and go through what's happening, okay? Now, self-worth is something that we need to learn to derive from within. Unfortunately, the areas affected are our mental clarity, our emotional health, and our behaviour. So if our self-worth isn't on track, it affects these different areas, and we get out of whack big time. So you can also see how, if we're getting out of whack with our self-worth, it's not just going to affect us and our perception of what's happening day to day, but it's also going to affect those that are around us, those that live with us, etc., etc. Work with, do sport with. It's going to affect us. And we've got to do this heart work. It's not head work. It's not change your thoughts and change your life. Thankfully, science has caught up and realised that changing your thoughts isn't the only thing we need to do. Okay? So key 2, what's happening with self-worth? Well, especially for teenagers, and this happens because from teenagehood it can carry on into adulthood, there's peer pressure, social posturing, and the media to say our self-perspective. I mean, there's been a lot already written about how social media can be like, oh, we only ever see the best parts of people's lives, and it's only a snapshot of somebody's life. And if we can understand that, that's fine. But what's happening in social media has been happening in real life for generations, okay? The peer pressure, everything there, social posturing, oh, they've got something I want, on and on and on. It can all take away from us feeling good about who we are as a person, all right, everything. But how does that happen? It's because we compare, and we have to be in a space where we feel good in ourselves, that we can lovingly accept that somebody else's life is going to be totally different to ours. I mean, I have friends that, own their own homes and everything down to somebody who doesn't own their own home, etc., etc. And in life, there's always going to be that whole broad spectrum of difference, and it's good. We've got to get used to that. Difference is good, all right? That's how I raise my kids. You're different, great, embrace it. Yes, it's hard as a teenager to accept that being different is a good thing because of all the peer pressure, but ultimately, when we say these things to our kids and we enforce it and we live our lives that difference is good, then they come to understand that while they're seated, wholly within themselves, that everything else falls, other people aren't doing that, okay? So they don't go in for the peer pressure so much. Let go of comparisons and acknowledge where you're comparing, and just, be comfortable in your own skin. One of the things that happens, and certainly at a family level, I raise my kids very different to how both my family and their father's family perceive that life is run. and totally differently to their perceptions of what is a happy, healthy whole life. And that's okay. We're allowed to have our differences. So I raised my kids to have a deeper awareness of what's going on in life and what's happening for people. And at the end of the day, it's a longer term view when you raise your kids that way. It's a longer term view. It's not controlling of your kids. It is disciplining and teaching them self-discipline, but it means I accept that they could be here to do something totally different to my life, and I'm okay with that, okay? It takes time, it takes repetition with kids, and even with teenagers, it takes time, it takes repetition. And even with adults, with our adult friends too. I mean, sometimes I know I need to be told more than once what's happening around me, okay? Let ourselves be human. Don't expect to get things right. Let the comparisons go. And life will be a lot less stressful, less pressure on us and less pressure within us to just be accepting in a moment of what's happening. So with self-worth, irrationality, don't let feelings trump facts, okay? I kind of sit here and go, I wish I'd known this years ago. Hi, Brenda. We can be passionate and very emotional, and especially as women, and then this is from my male friends, they can be highly emotional, but they don't know what to do with their emotions and lose track of what's happening, and that's okay. But what we need to be able to do is sit down with ourselves and go, right, what's a feeling, and my feelings are okay, and what's a fact, so what do I need to go forward with here? So when it comes to self-worth, we sit here and we say, okay, what is happening that I feel? So if I'm feeling really rubbish about myself, then I have to sit down and say, well, what are the facts? Okay. Now, in the beginning, when I started to rebuild self-worth, I had to make a choice, of saying to myself, right, you've believed all these things about yourself for a long time. Is that working for you? Okay. And I went, well, not really, not much has changed. And then I went, well, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to start believing all the things that people say about me that are kind. That people would say to me, oh, you're kind, now I can't remember. Just went, very caring, you understand people, you're a good listener, so on and so forth. And so what I did was, in the beginning, every time a thought or a feeling came up that said anything other than what other people observed me to be, I would just begin to refute it. And I would say, well, no, that's not the truth. We're not having that. Okay? No more. I am not going to believe all these negative things about myself anymore because they haven't done me any good. Okay? So we have to deal with the irrationality, and it is a choice to deal with how irrational we are, because at your very core, I know you are a very kind, caring, loving person. We just need to remember. Okay, key 5. Someone will always be better than you and worse than you. And it doesn't matter what part of life, and this hooks into the irrationality, it doesn't matter what part of life we're in or what process we're in. There's always someone smarter than you, dumber than you, got a better job than you, got a worse job than you, got a better spouse than you, got a worse spouse than you. Or be like me and just be happy. Sorry, I keep... I am happy. I just, sometimes we've got to have a laugh about this stuff too. We've got to keep it light so that we keep in our heart, okay? There will always be that happening. So not only does this hook back into don't let feelings trump facts and the comparisons, it also hooks into don't make things irrational, begin to make them rational, okay? And believe in your ability to overcome this as well. One of the things that will come up as you're doing this work, whether we like it or not, are the wounds that have come along over time. All right? And we will do a separate video on this because this is pretty, it comes with its own facets for forgiveness. But with the wounds, we have to be prepared to forgive as well, because as you only have to look on Facebook for starters, and everyone will say, well, you've got to forgive, okay? You do for your own sake, but you also do because it's freeing, okay? It liberates you from the wound, but we will talk about that more. But when the wounds do come up, stick with the facts, not the emotions, okay? And key 7 for self-worth, an ingredient is letting go. Forgiveness is part of letting go. I mean, you can go right back through the list and see how there are things that you will need to let go of with each ingredient. But letting go is a space where we don't try to control what's happening for other people. We can't. Letting go is a space where we understand that people will be people and I only have discipline over myself, okay? And when we get into a space of letting go, we can go out down into all the qualities of what love is, and we can feel love for people no matter where they're at in life, okay? We begin to be able to let go of wanting control because we're prepared to recognize where we're trying to have control of outcomes, okay? We don't know what tomorrow will bring, but we know today I can be at peace if I let go of control of outcomes, okay? Now, with self-worth, that means that I have enough self-worth and I'm building that into my heart and soul that I can let go knowing that no matter what happens, I'm still going to be okay, okay? Just one step at a time. And there's more facets to that, but, you know, we get time here to unpack it every day. If you have any questions or comments, please slip them in down below. I'm always happy to help wherever I can. I have a number of groups. If you're interested, just hit me up. We can go through that. Please remember to share this around because there are people hurting all over the world that need the information as well. Okay? And we always want to be doing something for someone who can do nothing in return for us. All right. Have the most wonderful, wonderful weekend. It's already Saturday lunchtime in Australia. So enjoy, and I will be back same time tomorrow and we'll do some more exploring. Okay. Bye for now.